guys, I'm Tiffany Zemlak and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited for today's topic. We are going to be talking about the Endocrine Dirty Dozen, and these are the top 12 toxins in our everyday environment that we must try to avoid. In very basic terms, the Endocrine Dirty Dozen are 12 hormone-altering chemicals. The reason why I wanted to talk about this subject today is because I see a naturopath quite regularly, and my doctor is always asking me what I'm doing to try and avoid these chemicals and these toxins in my life. My naturopath swears that by avoiding these chemicals, we can have a healthier reproductive system in general and that our hormones can function better. And I know for me that since I've started avoiding these chemicals in my life, I definitely have had better cycles and I feel better just in general as well. So not only am I going to talk about what these 12 hormone altering chemicals are, I'm also going to talk about where they show up in our lives and what we can do to reduce our exposure to them. So without further ado, here are the Endocrine Dirty Dozen. So chemical number 1 is BPA. I'm sure a lot of us have heard of this chemical before. It's found in mostly plastics and also in lots of cans, so our canned goods. And what this chemical does is it mimics estrogen in our body. Our body is often tricked into thinking that this fake estrogen is real estrogen, and it has major impacts on our body. The best way to avoid this chemical is by using fresh produce as much as you can, because a lot of the produce that are in cans have BPA in them because of BPA lining in the cans. So if you do want to get produce that is from a can, just look for one that says non-BPA lining. I also try to avoid using plastic water bottles like as much as I can. I really rarely drink from a plastic water bottle from like the store. Drink from a water bottle from home that is either glass or metal, not a plastic one. Chemical number 2 is dioxin, and this one is a little bit more confusing and a little bit harder to avoid. It's mostly formed during industrial processes, and it leaches into a lot of our food, so a lot of meat products, dairy products such as like eggs and butter. This chemical is really widely known for affecting men, especially when there's still fetuses in the womb. It can affect their sperm quality for the rest of their life, so it's really important for moms to try and avoid this chemical. Yeah, this one might be one of the hardest ones to avoid because it's found in so many meat and animal and dairy products. So really just trying to limit your consumption is probably the best way to avoid this chemical. Dirty Dozen chemical number 3 is the herbicide Atrazine. I hope I'm saying that right. This chemical has actually been shown to turn male frogs into female frogs that can produce eggs. So it totally messes with your hormones. Really, the best way to avoid this chemical is by eating organic produce and also putting a water filtration system in your home. Obviously, that's expensive, but the best way to avoid this chemical is, again, to lower your exposure as much as possible. If you do want to get a water filter that is certified to filter atrazine, you can actually go onto the EWG website and they have a buying guide for this type of a water filter. Dirty Dozen chemical number 4 are phthalates. These are particularly bad for men. This chemical can trigger death-inducing signals in testicular cells. So it's causing your man parts to deteriorate faster than they really should. This chemical can lower sperm count and also cause sperm to be less mobile, so it's definitely something you should try to avoid as much as possible. Phthalates are mostly found in plastic, so whether that's saran wrap or plastic containers that you hold your food in and then you sometimes microwave can leach into your food, so definitely try and use glass containers when you're at home. The second place you really want to look for this chemical is in your personal care products. And so if you look at the ingredient list on your products and you see the word fragrance, likely that means that there are phthalates in your personal care products. So let's try to use ones that don't. Obviously, I use Beautycounter because they are a company that bans more than 1,500 toxic chemicals in their products. If you want to know more about Beautycounter, leave a comment below because I can talk about that for days. The next chemical on our list is perchlorate. Perchlorate is actually a component of rocket fuel, right? Like, scary enough. And it contaminates a lot of our food. When this chemical is in our body, it competes with iodine, and iodine is necessary for us to produce our thyroid hormones. So again, super, super bad for you. As far as I know, this chemical is one of the hardest ones to avoid. Something that we can do, however, to kind of battle the effects of it is to eat more iodized salt. So we can definitely just have more of the iodine in our body so that we are still getting the support to our thyroid gland. Dirty Dozen chemical number 6 is known as PBDEs. This is a really long word that I actually can't pronounce, but it's kind of known as a chemical found in fire retardant. This is a chemical that's kind of showing up everywhere. So it's in our homes, it's in things like animals, in the wildlife, so even animals that are really far away from everything. It's been found in breast milk, and basically this chemical has been shown to lower IQ, and again, it disrupts our endocrine system. There's definitely more research that needs to be done on how to avoid this chemical in your life because as far as we know, it's kind of everywhere. It's in our food, it's even in the furniture in our house. One of the things I know we can do to avoid it is to use an HEPA filter on our vacuums. Other than that, you know, it's one of those things that is persistent everywhere. Our next hormone disrupting chemical is lead, and this is a very toxic heavy metal. Lead is commonly found in paint, so when we're painting our homes, try to use an organic paint that doesn't contain lead. It's also found in a majority of lipsticks, and what's really scary about lead is that it bioaccumulates in our bodies, so the more that we're exposed to it, the more that it builds up inside of us. Again, it's really important to use beauty products and skincare products that don't contain these harmful chemicals, and that's why I use most of my beauty products from Beautycounter. They are one of the safest skincare and cosmetic companies in the world. Love them. Our next toxic chemical is arsenic, and this is found in our food and water. This small amount of arsenic in our food and water can lead to multiple different types of cancers. Most commonly, these cancers are skin, bladder, and lung cancers. It really interferes with the way that our hormones process sugar and carbohydrates, so it can also lead to weight gain. Overall, it's a nasty one. The EWG website does have a buying guide for water filters, and using a water filter that is meant for arsenic can help lower our exposure to this chemical. Our next endocrine dirty dozen chemical is mercury, which is most commonly found in seafood, which makes me so sad because I love seafood. I'm sure we've all heard that pregnant women shouldn't really eat seafood, and this is because it messes with the development of the baby's brain. The best way to avoid this chemical and still enjoy seafood is just by eating wild, fresh fish and other forms of seafood as well, wherever you can get it. Harmful chemical number 10 are PFCs. This chemical is used to make non-stick cooking pans, and so it ends up in our food because it transfers from the pan to the food that we're cooking. This chemical has been linked to decreased sperm quality, low birth rate, thyroid diseases, and much more. I've changed all of the cooking pans in my house to cast iron. It's a little bit harder to clean, but definitely worth it to not get these chemicals leaching into our foods. The 11th toxic chemical from the Endocrine Dirty Dozen is called organophosphate, sorry, I had to look to see if I was even saying that one right, organophosphate pesticides. This is one of the most common pesticides used today, so it ends up in our food, which is really, really bad. Primarily, it disrupts the way that testosterone communicates with our cells in the body, so it lowers testosterone in men. This ultimately ends up altering our thyroid hormone levels as well. This one's a little bit easier to avoid. Best way to avoid it is just to buy organic produce. The last chemical from the Endocrine Dirty Dozen are glycol ethers, not sure how to pronounce that one. But basically, guys, watch out for this one. If you don't want shrunken testicles, then definitely avoid this chemical. This chemical is commonly found again in paints, in our cosmetic products as well, in other fluids such as like brake fluid. It's definitely used in a lot of different cleaning products too. In some studies, it actually showed that children whose rooms were recently painted had more asthma and allergies after, which is kind of scary. The best way to avoid this product would be just to go to the EWG's website. Again, they have a guide to avoid cleaning products and help you out there. I hope I didn't scare you too much with all these crazy hormone altering chemicals, but you know what? They are in our everyday environment. They are chemicals that we should try to avoid as much as possible. It's better to know than to not know, and I mean, these are just things that you're not necessarily told by your normal physician. I mean, I wasn't really told about them until I went to my naturopath, so it's something I really wanted to share with everyone. This was basically just a quick guide to these chemicals. I suggest to do your own research on top of what I told you as well, so you can be as informed as possible. If you do have any more questions, definitely let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that I know you like what I'm doing. If I get 10,000 subscribers, I get to pick the next vacation that me and my husband Trevor go on. So help me out there if you want to as well. And again, just a big thank you for watching. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at Tiff Zemlak, and Zemlak is spelled Z-E-M-L-A-K.